Absolutely.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Healing is War. On this podcast, we explore the dark side and the shadows of starting or developing your healing and your spiritual journey. On each segment, we explore something that you might encounter or you are already encountering. And I will say, our guest today, Mardae, he came up with this topic. So this is so, I don't know, it's so provocative because the topic is healing is wrong and right. We often hear in the healing space, if you're a healer, you're going through healing, and we know what 2025 has presented us with. We've been literally bombed with everything. Like, I can
Everything.
say that, bomb. That's a word, and we often think that healing is right, correct. That's
Yeah.
what we're taught, like, oh, you got to do this. But when he proposed this topic, and it's an acronym, healing is wrong and right, I said, oh. So first of all, let's open it up. What do you even mean by that, Marday?
um, Thank you for that question. I'm gonna talk a little bit slow here so I can make sure I'm making sense. Wrong and right. There is, for those that know a little bit about Egyptology, there is, there's a deity called Ma'at, and I'm not gonna get too deep into that, but there's a balance. Ma'at deals with the balance. And weigh your heart upon the feather is the way it's supposed to go, and your heart is supposed to be as light as a feather. Um, so when I'm dealing with wrong and right, that's that barometer, that's that scale that we walk on during life, right? To tell which way we're going. Even with this podcast, there is a wrong way and a right way to do the podcast. You're not chewing gum. I'm not chewing gum doing this podcast. In mass communication, that's a no, right? To be popping gum while you're doing an interview. So there is a standard that's there. There's a right way to do this podcast. Make sure that you come on 5 minutes early, which our audience didn't see. Make sure the audio is right. Make sure the visual is right. That is the correct way in on how to conduct an interview, right? So it's that barometer, it's that measurement of if something is done um, in balance or if it's out of balance. So that's kind of where I'm getting at, the wrong and right. And when we was talking earlier, I was like, wow, when I kept on hearing war, I heard the acronym wrong and right. And that's pretty much what healing is. You taking the decisions. I think that the collage of our decisions is the quilt of our life. At the end of the day, our life comes to the decisions that we make, the left and right turns that we make. And when we look at all of that, that is the that is a whole picture of our lives, and that's how we can tell if that's a great person, if they're not so great of a person. That's how we can tell the difference between a Hitler and a Martin Luther King by the decisions that they made constantly.
Hmm. That was deep right there. You said the Hitler and the Martin Luther King, because we know
Right,
what both of
because
them
they're
did.
both right. They're both humans. They both have two eyes. They both have one nose. They have one mouth. They both have a brain. They both use their brain. That was the difference in between the two. The choices that they made when they was in front of a large amount of people, the choices of the words that they chose to use, the choices of what they chose to stand behind. Both of them were standing for their people. One said, I'm willing to take out all the people to protect my people. The other one saying, I'm willing to take a brick upside my head and not even touch anybody for my people. It's just a choice that you make. And the people that are on the sideline, us now, we can decide if that was the right or wrong thing to do. And that's opinionated. Some people think Hitler's a great man. Some people think, or thought that Martin Luther King was a terrorist, especially when he was alive.
True. It's interesting you mentioned that because we're actually in a similar time as that right now, where we
Mm-hmm.
have leaders all across the world. Here in the United States, we got President Trump, we got Putin, I mean, you name it. What? because this relates to you too, and you being a man, there are
Hmm.
decisions that you have to make as a leader of your family, of your business, of your community, of the nation, what have
Right.
you. How do you make those decisions? Also, how would you say that people need to inform themselves on the decisions or who they are following as a leader?
Mm. Cool. You do know you. Well, we know each other. You do know my opinions aren't always the most popular. So this
I
might
know
be one
that.
of those
That's
moments. I
that's
get
why
it.
you here.
I get it. Hit me with the question one more time so to make sure I stay on top.
So essentially, let me rephrase it because I want you to also give this from a male perspective because you talked about decision making and leadership. And we see a lot of this happening today is in terms of where's the world going to go? You talked about Ma'at. It can go this way,
Hmm.
that way. We had Hitler, we had MLK. When you think about this pivotal time in history we're in right now,
Right.
what informs your decisions?
Got you. I I'm a naturalist, which means I love nature. I look at nature, and let me expound on that because I know that sounds kind of ridiculous just in itself. I look at the sun and the moon that never took a sick day. I look at the trees that has one job and one job alone to grow as close to the source or grow as close to the light as it can. A tree doesn't look at a bird and gets jealous and say, I demand the right to fly as well. The bird doesn't look at the tree and say, I want to be as big as that tree. I should be as big as a red wood, and I'm gonna bend nature to make it happen because that's what I want. I think the human being is the only entity that does that. Um, so with nature, I look and see how balanced it's supposed to be. I see how the water and the sand share space and have a beach for all of us to sit on and to enjoy. Um, I vote for me. I see a lot of my friends and a lot of people in the community. They vote for somebody else. They vote for somebody else to take care of their well-being. They vote for someone else to take care of their own well-being. Vote for me. People used to, I got people's feathers ruffled when I didn't vote for Kamala or Trump. People died for
I
this. People
raised my
died for
hand
all of
on
these
that too.
things.
I was with you.
Yeah, and then, how you not down with the black people? You down. One policy that she has is better than what I have for myself. I've researched Trump, and I don't think his policy is better than yours. I vote for you. I vote for you. I know you. I've had conversations with you. I vote for you to help me in the next 4 years for me to help well my family and where I want to be in life. I put more trust in you. I know you. We've had conversations outside of this podcast. I vote for the people that are in my pocket. I think we got away from that. Back when we couldn't vote, we did that. Well, I can't say me because that was my ancestors. I didn't live that reality. So let me phrase that for those who did. For the people that didn't have that reality, they couldn't vote. That wasn't even a thing. They voted for each other. They had a thing called barter systems. Oh man, we don't have no money. You know what? We'll make money. You can only spend it here with us. We made our own economic system. We was out there planting and farming every day. We voted for us. We were the snap. Hey, such and such and them got 12 kids down there. They not eating. Go take this load of food down there. Them good people. That's how we used to vote when we couldn't vote. Now that we can vote, we just kind of sit back and read policies. And I'm still looking for a president that did exactly what they said they were going to do, especially as it pertains to our culture. I think we're almost approaching 50 presidents. Me personally, I'm looking at all 50 and I'm trying to say which one of the presidents I would have ever voted for.
Hmm.
The only president that I would have ever voted for is currently in Africa, Ibrahim Traore, but he lives in Africa. Not to say that I won't vote, but the movements that he makes, um, a male that cares about the community so much that almost 20,000 women volunteered volunteered to help build the streets, right? Because of that leadership, because somebody actually cares about the people. People doing, there's one male that's looking towards the community based off of the energy that I was talking to you about. Somebody that I feel like you have some type of we have a connect. I don't know Trump at all. I don't know Kamala Harris at all. I don't know Obama at all until they were put on the screen. I didn't even really know that, except for Trump, because Trump was banging in the '90s. But other than that, you kind of see where I'm going.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, we got to start for real voting for us and staying true to our word and be right. Just we can't go to church every Sunday and say Jesus is our Lord or um, all praises to Allah or Yahweh during our Sabbath hours. And then another human being comes and that is called a president, does something that we don't like, might take some food, might take opportunity, and now we run for the hills. Like, wait a minute. Remember that Odulamare is the president, or Yahweh is the president. I thought Jesus was the president. Every first Sunday, you drink to remember that, right? You impart the body because this is my rulership. So in my head, if these entities are my actual president, why do I care what what anybody on the earth is running around who's supposed to be, dictating or whatever? That's not my leader. I can't denounce him as the United States president. But just because you're the United States president don't mean that you're my president. I have presidents over my life, right? Even with that, as long as I'm acting righteous, I'm not driving on the wrong side of the road. I'm not hurting children. I'm not causing harm to people. I can still live within America and its rules and its bent rules because it operates on what I call right. I don't want to harm children. I don't want to harm other people without reason. You know what I mean? I don't want to do things that are considered unrighteous anyway. I don't need an American president. I don't need an American president to be self-sufficient to learn how to take the acres that my grandfather had bought years ago and find out how to make something grow for me. I don't need President Trump. When I see a sister at the store and open the door for her, I don't need a president for that.
Hmm.
Who's the dog's president? Which ant is the president of all the rest of the ants? They don't have one and they've been working just fine. They've been on Earth longer than us. The bird still doesn't have a president. Caterpillar doesn't either. So why do we? So that's kind of what my answer is. I think when we trying to kind of lean back into ourselves and really take the actual authority. Actual authority. Now when we go to the club, we wear that authority when the club. I'm the this, I'm the that, I'm the cleanest one, I'm the baddest bee, I'm the cleanest dude. We step into that authority around each other when it's makeup time and we got our costumes on and we look dressed to the nines. But then again, one person can say, "Hey, I'm not gonna feed y'all." Oh Lord, what we gonna do now? Wait a minute, we have to keep that same energy. We're gonna either be we're going now that's the war. We're gonna be wrong all the time. We gotta be right all the time. I'm always that person. I don't care what I have on, what kind of threats I have on. I don't care what I ate that day. I'm still that entity. Or you're gonna always be, well, it's me. You can't really. you can't straddle this fence. Now you have your moments. Now there are rhythms. Life is a rhythm, but you in your mind you got to stay on one side. That way you can see what the barometer is, right? If I am looking at myself as a great person or a person of statue, that comes with prerequisites. That comes with a standard, right? If I say that I'm a basketball player, that comes with certain standards. You're a basketball player. What do you mean you can't run two laps? You said you play in the NBA. You're tired after two laps. That doesn't compute under the standards that you said that you are. You're not mentally tough and you call yourself an athlete. That doesn't compute. So I think we got to get back to that and really start voting for ourselves and our own
Okay, you said a whole lot about that, and I do agree with you because you see, I didn't vote for nobody because I vote for myself. I mean, I
And no
literally
shade to
did.
people who did, and no shade to people who did. That's
Right.
again, that's my personal decision because our ancestors died for the right to be able to vote, not so that I have to figure out and just vote for people I don't, but the right as a human being to make a choice and say I want this person or that person. That's what they died for the right of it, not for us to go ahead and elect the pirate or the Viking. I mean, you can't choose between either one.
Hmm. I feel like a lot of what you were saying, Marday, was based on action. And in my space and in my dealings with people, this is what I see where our actions don't line up with our words or our ideology, or that's why you say out of all the almost 50 presidents, which one has fulfilled their mission? Because we're not in alignment. I feel we're not in my eye.
Right.
How did you, because people need to know this, how did you get into a place where you were able to say, I vote for me? Because we see everything else happening in the physical. This is falling. You mentioned the snap, the this,
Mm-hmm.
the plane is falling out the sky, the water is polluted, ah, just everything. Our
Mm-hmm.
kids ain't getting no good education. I could shrivel up and commit suicide. But how did you say, I'm going to be sovereign enough to vote for me?
Um, a lot of trauma mentally. Um, when you look at superhero films and Marvel films that I enjoy, the hero usually goes through an ordeal before they become the hero. They get bit by the spider or get locked into an incinerator or something that the human body just cannot fathom, right? And at that point, they have two choices. They can evolve or die right there on that spot. The poisonous spider can kill them. They can choose, oh man, I got bit by a poisonous spider. They can go unalive themselves or let that situation unalive them. I know they're fictitious characters, but follow me. But usually, what happens, there's something that mutates them, that evolves them, that turns them into something stronger than they were before. Um, December the 1st was my birthday. Well, it is my birthday. I'm still here. And I chose to be vulnerable this year. I don't know if you caught the video, but I had a small segment for conversation I had between me and my mother. I was told um, at one point when we had our conversation, she looked out of the window because we was in the car and screamed to God, I did what you wanted, Lord. I did what you wanted. I had him. But you know that I regretted every moment. Every moment of his life, I regretted. I heard that as a 44-year-old male. That's not the first time that I heard things like that. This is coming from my mother. So in my head, when I'm listening to society, the matriarch and the woman is God, the woman is all nurture, things like that. I have to compute that with what I hear constantly, right? And even though that wasn't the thing that I wanted to particularly hear on my birthday, I heard God. I chose. Now here's the answer. I chose to dig a little deeper, and I heard God throughout the screams of the regret. I heard the whisper of even your mom couldn't stop it. I am God.
Hmm.
Even your family couldn't stop the birthday, but I say go. That's what I heard. So that was my, if you call it hero moment, because there's been a lot of times where I just didn't know what to do, and I just didn't have the answers. I ain't gonna cap to you. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did what most of us men did. We find some type of outlet to act like it didn't happen. That's what trauma does. Mine was football. Um, yeah, mine was football, but I was able to move and matriculate and see self worth first and foremost. There was always self worth that I had. Because my grandmother would instill it, my grandmother and grandfather would instill that into me constantly, continuously. And she was a doctorate of metaphysical studies. And I realized that I was her case study. I was actually her personal case study. So some of the environments that weren't necessarily the most balancing for me, she would kind of overcompensate and give me affirmations and do things to the point where it used to drive me crazy. When I woke up every morning, she would sing a personal song, an affirmation song. It was so positive. I was like, oh my God, could you stop singing that song every morning? Like, why are you doing it?
Hmm.
As a male today, I realize that I sing it to myself now when I get into those darker pockets. Um, because it makes a liar out of my doubt when I say nobody cares. Because when I sing the song, I say, hey, that you can't find this on Spotify. You can't find this song on YouTube. Somebody took the time to write a whole verse about me
Hmm.
and my existence and how nature bends to my will when I'm making like this. Like, yo, now that I'm older, I get it. So, with her metaphysical teachings, she would always have a big Carson book, self hypnosis books. I'm 9 years old, sleeping on her books while she's reading them, and I started doing them. I started, taking nuggets of self hypnosis, affirmations, and things like that. To the point where I came up with my own system about in college that was called MSRED, MSRED, and now I've made a training packet. But this is what it is. You ask, how do I get through? There's 5 investments that I give myself daily, and the acronym again is MSRED, MSRED, and I walk with her daily, and that's mental stimulation, spiritual stimulation, rest and relaxation, exercise, and diet. Those are 5 things that I can vote for me. Those are 5 things that I can control. Whether somebody cuts me off and make me late for work, that doesn't dictate a good or bad day. If I haven't done anything for my mind, my spirit, if I didn't rest that day, if I didn't exercise and move my body, or if I didn't eat, that dictates a not so good day. Not going to say bad day, but it is what it is. And I would get on the calendar and I would mark a point for each one. So it'd be a total of 5 points. If I did everything, if I was on point with everything, I'd get a 5. If I didn't do anything, I'd get a 0. And I would be honest and transparent with myself, because if I'm gonna start lying with the numbers, not lie to myself, I'm gonna do that to you. I'm do that to everybody. But it allowed me to come to the accountability mirror and really see where I am with my life. It took some weeks of me getting 2s and 3s
Hmm.
to figure out where I'm where I'm lacking because a lot of times I have my as an athlete, my exercise and diet was cool. I'm gonna eat some and I'm gonna go lift some weights. I'm gonna go claim them weights. I'm gonna do that. Make sure my physical is okay, right? But I didn't necessarily do anything mentally. I didn't read anything. For me, mental stimulation is read something until you learn something you didn't know yesterday. Not just read it. Read until you learn something new, until you got a new brain. My spiritual stimulation is something that I would do that has nothing to do to benefit me. Just randomly giving somebody that dollar, giving a heartfelt compliment and not wanting anything in return. Usually I would do something nice for somebody and just turn and walk away before they even got a chance to even reciprocate it. Hey, that's a beautiful dress that you got. Have a great day. Gone.
Mm,
Hey, brother, hey, here's $1 for simply existing. Because you breathing. What you mean, man? Did you see George Floyd? That's not you today, brother. You alive here. Rest and relaxation, something where I'm not moving my body or moving my mouth. Sit. Just sit and just be. Exercise. What is a way that I can show proof to God that I am proud that I got 2 arms today? I'm proud that I got 2 legs today. My back isn't hurting like that one time it hurt it. That football season. This
mm,
broken finger is now mended. I can bend it today. So why would I sit on the couch doing the same thing as if it was still broken and not moving? Why am I doing the same thing as somebody that just got their leg amputated before this podcast? At the end of this podcast, there's somebody that started this podcast with 2 legs. By the time this 40 or 45 minutes is over, they will not. They have 1 leg and they got to work. They got to do that for the rest of their life. I'm 44 years old. That has missed me for 44 years. I've been MMA, which is mixed martial arts, that cage fighting, lock 2 men in the cage and let them beat the hell out of each other. That was me. I was about that life. Still am in the right moment. Football. That's not a contact sport. That is a collision sport. That is equivalent to car crashes. The only thing that is not the same as these two pinky fingers that have been broken. That's it. Let me honor that. Let me go do something today. Let me go do some yoga. Let me go run. Let me bike. Let me do something that humans are supposed to do so I can show the universe, hey, I'm proud. I'm glad that I have these gifts of all of my fingers and all of my toes. These are gifts. Other people look at them as body parts. These are gifts. And then the diet. How am I fueling myself? And diet is not always my food, but what type of music am I listening to? When I was scrolling, I even looked at this. What were the last 5 things that I liked? Each month I go on my own, I'll follow myself and look at my own social media posts and look at what I was posting for the last 30 days.
mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, you go back and look what you would post for the last 3 months and it'll let you know where your mind is. So these are the things that I did to combat or go to war with the environments and the situations that I was in, was walking this misread system and investing in myself to make myself more self-sufficient. Um, and it wasn't to make my life more peaceful. It's not to, and I think that might be the wrong part of healing. When we talk about wrong and right, there's wrong uh, conceptions about healing. We think once we're healed, we're going to be, just sitting in bliss and peace and just happy and smiling. You know what I mean? Smiling so big that the sun just starts to shine. That's actually not peace at all. That's not peace at all. Peace is complete balance. Peace is when we're bored. That's true peace. When you're bored, like, oh, I don't have nothing to do today. You're just sitting there, people watching, or just being mindful. That is true peace. Um, you smiling and things make you feel good. That's called happiness. That's based off of the things that happen to you. If I say, hey, Amara, as soon as we get done with this podcast, I got $1 million check that I have nothing to do with, so I'm just gonna give it to you. Your countenance might go up a little bit, right? That dopamine might start kicking a little bit, but it didn't before then. You notice that smile just happened, but it happened after I said that. So
Mm-hmm.
that happiness, that money will make you happy, but then the IRS gonna come and want to take half of it. Then you're gonna have family members that's gonna call you that you don't know. Then you're gonna get all the hey big heads. Then you're gonna get, everybody now somebody want to sue you. You know what I mean? So does that so now you got $1 million, but are you still happy? Now you're getting all these other entities and things like that. Pieces, I'm the same whether I got $1 million or not. I am detached. I am 2 hours before the earth was made. 2 hours before God or whatever who believe in said, let there be light, or 2 hours before the Big Bang. 2 hours before that. Equal, silent, dark, peace. It's not up, it's not down, it's not left, it's not right. It's just right there. I don't know if people play chess or even checkers. There's a lot of times you can't use the analogy of chess and checkers, but for this you can. The only time that board is equal is at the start of the game.
Hmm.
That's it. When you move one pawn, you move one knight, you move one checker piece, there's now an imbalance. Now the opponent is trying to balance that imbalance. Now you move. Now you're trying to balance the imbalance. That's not peace. That's actually war. I'm having actions to bring that balance back and win the game. And it's okay to realize that within the healing, it doesn't bring peace, but it brings justice. And that's what people really need. We need justice to where right is restored. Right is restored. A lot of people are trying to find peace. Something may happen traumatic to them, and they looking for justice in the court system. But the happiness to override and say, hey, I got X amount of millions if you don't say nothing about it. You got, you got that $1 million for you. And that dopamine hits, and it's like, yeah, that $1 million, I can do this, I can do that. And now I'm happy. Now I'm happy. And they take the $1 million. They still have the trauma. They still would have what happened to them, and now they're boxed into it. I'm talking about a non-disclosure, and now you can't talk about it, or you've been. What do you mean that happened to you? But when you gave the money, you said that was equal. It's good now. You balanced now. No, you're not. No, you're not. But to get to ultimate justice, to get to justice to rectify that wrong, now I don't care about the money. I want to make sure that what happened to me doesn't happen to anybody else. That's justice. That's bringing back order. That's when you start getting into the laws of my eye, where things are cut and dry, and we can see the road that we're going on for this journey. Right? That's I think a lot of people get the two misconstrued because peace is not the peace that we're looking for is not the peace is not going to get us to where we are as a culture. And what I mean by that, my definition of peace of being bored,
Mm-hmm.
having nothing to do, because that's true peace. It's like, just think about it. Being bored means you have nothing to do. It means you have nothing to do. You've done everything. You went to work. Okay, I ate. My mind is good for the day. My spirit is good for the day. I have none. I have nothing. I have nothing to do. That's true peace. But having peace is, oh man, I'm not at work for 5 minutes. Let me scroll right here. Okay, let me eat up these 2 minutes by. Let me just call somebody. I just have to call somebody. I don't want nothing. I'm just calling. I'm on my break. I'm just calling. I just want to talk. That's not necessarily peace. That is being appeased. Let me get a dopamine. Let me get on TV. Let me get on, say, social media. And I'm not saying it like I'm Moses on the mountain. It'll get me too. If I'm not careful, it'll get me too. Ain't got nothing to do. Let me go ahead and scroll, see what's popping. And then after a while, like, yo, couldn't you be doing something better? Does that mean you have nothing to do? Nah, I forgot. I didn't do all of my misread. Let me go on and get to reading this book. Let me do this. So I'll stop scrolling. Hey, stop. I literally tell myself, hey, stop. And turn the phone over and go and pick up a doggone book.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the war. It's the action. It's not that, oh, I'm walking this road and I'm so righteous that nothing's coming. Nah, this is a whole battlefield. I'm looking, my head is on the swivel. This situation don't need a whole being done to pray. Okay, I can get through this. I can get through this with a little crystal. That's a small problem. Okay, stop scrolling and read a book. That's a small problem. I don't need to make a big grandiose, move for that. You know what I mean? Other things do. Sometimes I might look at my environment, my living conditions, and might need a bigger gun. I need to figure out how to get out of this. I need more money. I need to go research where I'm going to go. I need to figure out how I'm going to get there. Okay, that might need a bigger tool, but it's a constant action, right? All those beautiful words that we get out of Psalms in the Bible, for those who subscribe to that awesome book, we fail to realize that David wrote those beautiful words that make us feel so great while he still had blood on the sword. This is after battle, right? He's burying soldiers that he commanded. These are fathers, these are somebody's child, and they're still looking for him. And now he's in the cleft of the rock. And what he chose to do at that time was to write to God about his account for making it through another battle, right? That's kind of where we are. We're behind enemy lines and we want to, they call it the soft life. We want to be in soft life in the middle of a war. Now, life shouldn't just be hard and full of battle, but literally, how does that happen? That's like the Jewish people during the Holocaust talking about they want to live the soft life. You're not in a position right now for that to even be an option.
Mm-hmm.
You better fight. You got to fight to get your. So do you see what these people are doing to you? Are you thinking about the beach? You want to go kick it at the beach? You want to go do a line dance all the time? Not saying nothing wrong with those things, but that's what we're going to constantly do and live the soft life in an environment where you call the name of Jesus as a lady and you shot in the face. All right. You're a big man in your community and everybody watches you get choked in the middle of the street with their phones out. It doesn't make me want to go and necessarily kick it at the Essence Festival. It doesn't make me want to learn the new line dance. It doesn't. Um, and no shade to those that do, but from my eyes, I realize that we're not in soft life era right now. And a lot of our ladies, and again, I'm not a female, so I can speak on y'all's behalf, but I see now it's a soft life era. Now women are looking for men to usher them into a soft life era. And a lot of times I have to decline. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. I studied that Turner. I studied Marcus Garvey. Mental therapists. I don't remember when Martin Luther King had his soft life era. He was getting hit upside the head for bricks for us, for you, for people that's listening. Got hit with a brick and kept it moving. I'm ready to spin the block. I'm going to do something. You don't hit me upside the head. I'm going to do something different. But somebody thought enough to go through that. So I could even be here. We can, have the things that we have. So no, I'm not in my soft life era right now. I'm in my attaining of justice. And when things are restored, whatever that means, and that don't mean I'm going to crusade and make America right. I think it's this is a whole different situation, but balanced and justified within my bloodline. Um, Killing certain generational curses, right? Making sure my children never hear what I heard in my birth. That's
Mm-hmm.
my that's my battle. all the things that hurt me and the trauma that I said that I went through. Okay, how do I make this miss my daughter? How do I make this miss my son? You know, and help anyone else along the way. That's that's how I get to my soft life. Era. Not to say that there's not one. I'm not saying that there's not one. My soft life era in my mind is in New Zealand. I have family there. I have a situation there. Last time I was there, that was the first time I felt relaxed as a black man. Like, the people in New Zealand didn't look at me and clutch their purses. It was an experience that I've never had before. And it's like, okay, that's where I want to get to. That I can get some form of peace and be bored. I want to be bored over there. In America, it's impossible for me to get bored. To be bored, there's always a soapbox to stand on. There's always work to be done. There's so much that needs to be done here. I don't have time to be bored. Even when we get done with this podcast, I got to throw my uniform on and go to work that I love. And I'm not saying that like, oh man, I got to go to work. I actually love my job,
Mm-hmm.
but that's something I got to do because I tend to children. I help build children up. I help build their confidence up, and I like right? And then after that, I'm going to host a bonfire that's going to deal with breathing work. I'm going to spin it over to the adults, and we're going to spend our new year learning breath work outside and learning what we're going to do for the next year. So that's why I say I'm not saying that I'm not going to do anything for the new year, but I am voting for me what I do. I'm not going to vote for what everybody says to do. To go get drunk, go pop some champagne at 12 o'clock, wear my little hat, sprinkle my confetti, make my fitness resolutions and things like that, which is okay, but that doesn't fit me getting to my justice and getting to my balance and knocking out these generational curses so I can go fly to New Zealand and go get my peace
Mm-hmm.
and go be bored. Right? A lot of times we want to get peace in the middle of the battle where all the shenanigans are happening, and then later we look for justice. That doesn't compute. Again, for some reason I'm talking about MLK a lot today. He didn't want he wanted justice. He said, "Look, I'm going to show the world what's happening with these fire hoses and dogs. This is what you're doing to other human beings. Is this right for you? Is this a right thing to do? Is this a just thing to do for human beings to do to another human being? That's not just. Let's balance this." Martin Luther King was like, "No, let's not do nothing. Let's go kicking and act like nothing happened." That's our form of peace, right? A mate might make us upset, or we might break up. And I'm just saying things that I've experienced and things that I've seen in my community. There's a breakup, something bad happens, and we go shoot straight to the club and get drunk as possible and hang out and show our friends that we not phased by it at all. We out there, we smoking, we drinking. So if that person don't want me, it don't matter. There's 10 other people that want me. Where in your head, you sitting there wanting to cry so bad in the middle of that club.
So you know what? I got one final question because I know you got to go, but
Man,
this is an important question and you have to answer it because you
let's go.
you talked about soft life and especially let's just call it what it is. It's the black female and the black male. That's what we're
Mm-hmm,
talking about here. How do we find balance? Because we got so many issues out here where I'm just speaking collectively as a black woman. We're saying, and I'm not saying personally, but collectively, we're
yeah,
saying we want peace, we want balance, we want the men to give us the soft life.
yeah.
Then you got the black male collectively saying, this ain't no peace. We got war. We got to do this. We got to get to this. We got to. So now
Mm-hmm,
there's a disconnect, and we see it play out on these podcasts, on Pop
mm-hmm,
the Balloon, on
yeah,
everywhere, on social
yeah,
media. How do we restore that? Because to me, when we're at war, we have to come together and not separate and say, I want my soft life. I don't care what he's saying over there. And the men can't say, well, I don't care what she's saying over there. I
no,
don't want her. So now we got
no,
this separation. We got to bring it
right.
together.
I agree. My answer would be use this right here. in this right here. And I'm saying, listen. That's why I'm pointing right here too. Listen to each other. Even if we don't agree, listen. That's to me. To me, let me bring it back. It's not the gospel. This is my interpretation of the situation. We don't listen because there are some women that's on that. There ain't no time for soft life. It is a war, and there's some men that's saying, "Man, that's that war. Let's party. I want my soft life too." So it's not just a male and female issue, though it's portrayed by the male and female, mostly of our culture. So number one, to listen, and have empathy. Amara, I have no idea what you go through as a black woman, the looks that you get, that you may get, the objectification that you may be gone through. It's just other things. I don't know what it's like for you to go through what y'all go through once a month. I have no idea. I have no idea what it feels like in the struggle of laying on the delivery bed. So I listen. So when you tell me the experience, I listen. Not this period hurt. Well, I'm not feeling this way. As women we deal with periods and What we'll do, well, do you know what it is to be a black man? And vice versa. Men coming, man, it's rough. I had a rough day today, man. I got stopped for no reason. The female, instead of answering that, I'm on my period. Do you know, try having a period, try bleeding for a week. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, okay, those might be facts, but nobody's heard. Now what happens is what I call the gender ping pong. I got it rougher. I got it rougher. I got it rougher until you find out that y'all both the same damn thing. Now you're gonna be playing ping pong. So for me, I had to become spirit. I had to become racist. That's my best. That's my best answer, and I don't mean in tone.
Yeah.
I mean becoming spiritually racist. I don't give a damn how black your skin is. I don't care how many calorie shells you have on. I don't care if you're male or female. I don't care about none of that. I'm looking at the spirit of your actions and what that story tells me. Because we're one race, whether we want to deal with that or not. We're all the human race. It just has different shades and tones.
Hmm.
So I can't get caught up in that. I got to get caught up in what you're doing. Because I would take a pale white, as white as some paper, John Brown, slave slave abolitionist. I would take him over now. I would take an Uncle Ruckus. And if you've seen Boondocks, the cartoon, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I don't care about the skin color. I've had one cop that's called Spider that saved my life, and I will always show him honor. He literally saved my life as a police officer. Now, as a whole entity of the policeman, do I like the policeman? Not so much. I don't like what they stand for. Every time I will pluck him out, except for Spider. You touch him, I will come after you because of what he done for me. And I don't care about no skin tone. But that's letting me be who I am. I care less. If I see a kid on Clarksville Highway when I leave here with the little white suit, with the little white pointy hat, with a little swastika on his back, and he's standing in the middle of the street, gonna get hit in the car, guess who's gonna come out and get him out of the street? Me. I'm just built like that. And I can care less about the why you saving them. Y'all can shut the hell up. That's what because I vote for me. That's what I choose to do. Because the life of a child over a doggone pointy hat, that's not balanced for me. Now, when they march all 50 of them, all them grown men marching all 50 of them and they in the middle of the street, that's a little bit different. They're not innocent children. They're grown men that know what they're doing spiritually with their actions. That little child has a parent that made them put that suit on, that made them put, that's not necessarily their choice. So I judged him with a different guy than a grown, seasoned man that know what he did. He dressed himself in that all black and put the mask over his face so we can't see who he is. Who chooses to march in the community and cause a disruption. That's different. That's different. What we have to do is become, I'll say, spiritually aware instead of spiritually racist. I like to throw words out to make people listen. So yeah, spiritually racist, spiritually aware, and stand on business. Like that's what we say. That stand on that. Even if it's your homegirl, even
Hmm.
if it's your homeboy out there creeping and doing stuff that he shouldn't be doing, and he married. Pull his coat, say something. You see this female and she your friend, and she's taking this dude's credit card, and he think that he in love, and she's sitting there running all the drinks up for you, and none of y'all say nothing. Say something. You gonna lose friends. You gonna lose. You gonna no. Let me say this. You're gonna lose people, and your friends will remain. When you did. I've done it all this year. I've been pulling coattails. I've been doing things, and my friend circle is different this due to that one thing.
Hmm.
And I feel balanced in that. I feel balanced in that. I've had to come to my friends that I won't go into details, but have certain skills like learning how to build, construction, and things like that. Knowing that I've been um, looking to build a healing community on my property for the last 4 years, but that said person lives right down the street, and I been there once. But I've had females that I met in spans of a week that hear what I have to say, and they say, "Hey, Dad, I got some boots. I can't do much, but I'm gonna come." And I'm sitting there watching these women, yes, my sisters of different shades, not all of them are black, come and donate their time.
Right.
And now that it's built, I'm now a nonprofit. And now my friend, once he found out it was a nonprofit, giving me the accolades and the congratulations. I was like, bro, what? And I can talk to you like that because you're my friend. And you say that we brothers, we grew up together. Well, there was times that you drove by and you literally looked at what's going on and you chose to drive away. So I have to adjust so we can keep the friendship that we currently have. I have to adjust. Same as you think. I gotta adjust how I move so we can keep the current friendship, right? So I think we have to do things like that because we get so traumatized. We just want to spray everybody can get it. Everybody can get it.
Be shooting everybody up.
Everybody, man, we can't do that. Just because one person didn't call you back, that don't mean that all men are trash or all women are trash. It means that one person in that state of mind where they are right now, they can change next week. That's what they are at that particular time. But that's all black men, all black women.
Mm.
I think we got to get off of that and really get back on the scale. Really just put things back on the scale. This is however you do it. This is the way that I do it. If you want to figure out my MSRED system, legacy, you can contact me and we can do that. But outside of that, find your system. Vote for you. Vote for you, and then other people will vote for you.
Okay, we're going to end right there. I normally share soul work, but I'll put that in the comments. I'll also share how people can get in contact with you, Mardae. And remember, everyone, your soul is calling you to greatness. You are a soldier. You are ready for war. Thank you again. This was fabulous.
Thank you.